ABCs of politics. Issues minus the spin.
Let's look at some of the real politicians without the names or the parties and see how they fare based only on the issues. Here we have candidates A, B, C, and D. These are all real people, and these are really their stances on the issues, but this will be without telling you what their party is or who they are. Some of you should be able to figure it out. Maybe not. Let's see. What are the positions of candidate A, B, C, and D on, let's say, the Iraq War? The Iraq War is a vitally important issue. It's cost us nearly $1 trillion and has killed over 1 million people. So no matter what your issue is, healthcare, education, the environment, whatever you care about, all of those things require money. The majority of our money is being spent on the war. Over 50% of our taxes go to the war, and most of our debt has been piled up by borrowing money from the Fed to pay for the war. So it's a meta issue. No matter what you care about, the war has to be central. Plus, it's completely unethical. We invaded a country that didn't attack us, and we've killed over 1 million people with a 90% rate of civilian deaths, which we call collateral damage. So how do they feel about the war? All of these candidates are already in government as senators or congressmen. The way to stop the war is to take away the funding. So, how did they vote on funding the war? Did they vote against it or for it? Let's look at candidate A. What did candidate A do? Did candidate A vote against funding the war? No, candidate A voted to fund the war multiple times. How about candidate B? Did candidate B vote to defund the war? No, candidate B didn't do it either. Candidate B is rather fond of saying one thing and doing another. How about candidate C? Did candidate C vote to defund the war? No, candidate C didn't either. All three candidates A, B, and C voted to continue funding the war. How about candidate D? Did candidate D vote to defund the war? Yes, candidate D voted against funding the war and voted against the war itself. Candidate D has my vote already. However, some people don't care about millions of deaths or foreign policy and economics, so let's look at some social issues just to look at the personality of candidates A, B, C, and D. Take the issue of gay marriage. Now for me, it's a pretty no-shit question. I'm kind of embarrassed that it's even being debated. Any adult who isn't already married should be able to marry whoever they want. End of story. What's the big problem? Religion, I know. So let's look at candidate A. Does candidate A support gay marriage? No, candidate A doesn't support gay marriage. Candidate A does support civil unions, however. Whoopie-doo-dah. What is so damn hard about the question? How about candidate B? Does candidate B support gay marriage? No, candidate B has the same position as candidate A. They don't support gay marriages. They think marriage should be a sacred bond between a man and a woman. But they do support civil unions, you know, for insurance purposes and stuff. How about candidate C? Does candidate C support gay marriage? No, candidate C has the same position as A and B. Well, what does candidate D think? Candidate D thinks that gay marriage is perfectly fine. In fact, candidate D thinks that the government should have nothing to do with marriage at all. But what about civil liberties? Civil liberties are very important. They are for me. In this day and age where we have almost no privacy, where torture is advocated, where we have arrests without warrants, searches without warrants, detention indefinitely without a trial, secret trials, military tribunals. It's pretty bad stuff. A lot of this came from the Patriot Act. Now, how did candidates A, B, C, and D stand on the Patriot Act? Would they vote to extend it and keep it? Or would they say, enough is enough, we don't want the Patriot Act, and get rid of it, let it die, don't renew it? Let's see how they voted. What did candidate A do? Did candidate A repeal the Patriot Act? No, candidate A voted to extend it. How about candidate B? Did candidate B vote to kill the Patriot Act? No, just like candidate A, candidate B did the same thing. How about candidate C? Did candidate C vote to kill the Patriot Act? No, candidate C didn't either. What's going on here? Are they all part of the same party or something? Actually, they're not. They're in different parties, but you can't really tell one from the other when you're looking only at the issues. How about candidate D? Did candidate D vote to kill the Patriot Act? Yes, candidate D voted to kill the Patriot Act. Candidate D also voted against the original Patriot Act when it first came through, one of the few individuals to do so. And candidate D gave a speech about the evils of the Patriot Act as well as our sliding civil liberties in general. Candidate D is a constitutionalist. How about our national sovereignty? That's pretty important. How do candidates A, B, C, and D stand on the North American Union? Does candidates A, B, and C oppose the North American Union? No, they all support the NAU, that or they deny it even exists. How about candidate D? Does candidate D oppose the North American Union? Yes, he does, and vehemently so, too. And what about the issue of Israel, the apartheid regime which builds racial colonies, bulldozing down the homes of civilians and murdering little kids? Where do the candidates stand on that? It costs America over $11 million a day to support this racist apartheid police state which is building a wall that's not even on its border. The Israeli lobby was caught spying on the United States. AIPAC hasn't gone to trial yet, but they're busted red-handed, and one individual was sentenced to 12 years in jail already. So, who supports a country that is ethnically cleansing its neighbors and was caught spying on the United States as well as selling nuclear secrets? The answer is candidates A, B, and C. Only one candidate would withdraw aid from Israel and did not support their brutal attack on Lebanon where they killed over 1,000 civilians. That was candidate D. A lot of candidates have talked about change. They stand for change in the most vague, unplanned, undefined way. What do you want to change? Is there anyone out there that has a plan to change monetary policy, the healthcare system, the war on drugs, the IRS, income taxes? Well, how about candidates A, B, C? Only one candidate so far has any plans for that, and that's candidate D. You know, the environment is a very important issue. The United States really needs alternative fuels. A great one would be hemp. It also links into the ridiculous war on drugs. Are there any candidates that would consider ending the war on drugs, legalizing hemp, and using it for industrial purposes? What does candidates A, B, and C think? Would they end the war on drugs and use hemp for industrial purposes? Ha! Not a chance. In fact, they won't even talk about it. But what does the maverick candidate D think? Although personally against drug use and a medical doctor himself, candidate D would legalize drugs. Whatever you want to put in your body is your business. It's a matter of personal freedom. And the industrial uses of hemp and medical uses of marijuana could be very beneficial to the United States. Many drugs, including hard drugs, were legal in the U.S. until the 1930s. Now I could keep going on the issues here, but I think the point's been made and I only have about 20 seconds left before YouTube cuts me off, so I want to say this. Here is a picture of the media coverage of all four candidates. Just look at that. All three pro-war candidates are covered in the mass media non-stop. The one clearly anti-war candidate has almost no coverage at all. I wonder why they would do that. Just who are these people anyway? Well, candidates A and B are Democrats, C and D are Republicans. A was Hillary, B is Obama, C is McCain, and D is Ron Paul.